Yerp, this perp back with another video, and I just got done listening to the game's new album called Drillmatic, Heart versus Mind. This has 30 tracks. Yes, 30 tracks. I think 31 really. I don't know what number album this is from the game. I lost track. But the game has been a fascinating artist to kind of watch over the years, coming from those G-Unit days, and him kind of surpassing his peers at that time, 50, Young Buck, and even Lloyd Banks. Lloyd Banks came out with the album. Nobody's really talking about it, but it's all right. He's been very interesting. I feel like the game has been very consistent. I really liked his last LP, Born to Rap. If you haven't listened to Born to Rap, I think you should definitely go listen to it. It really made me reappreciate the game. I always liked, albums like Jesus Peace or like the Red album. Those are really strong albums in the last decade from game. He just really shows that he is still hungry. You know what I'm saying? You're going to get the name drops in this album as well, but what you probably are wondering is this album worth sitting almost 2 hours for? Let's kind of break it down and kind of go through the track list, and let me just kind of give you my first initial thoughts, going into this album. So going into this album, if you look at the track list, there's 31 songs. Insane. A lot of these songs, some of these songs I've heard already, so I kind of skipped over them, like Easy. One of the dopest tracks to come out this year with Kanye. That track is just incredible. Hit Boy is all over the is on the production. There's also another producer on here. I'm drawing a blank on his name. It's escaping me. You have Mike Zombie. There's not one Dre beat on this, and I love that. Just because it gives, the game to kind of gives them some room to kind of just play around with different beats. Hearing Game over a drill beat, something like Burning Checks, or the song with Cameron, Killers, it's interesting. I think I prefer the one with Fabio Foreign, just because it's like, okay, that's something new, that's something different that game has never really tapped into. And there's a lot of that throughout this album. It's really structured more like a mixtape than an album. There's not like one specific theme throughout this whole entire album, unless you get to the last track, where it kind of brings in like a positive message, like trying to just tell people to just show universal love to everybody and whatnot. But let's start with track 1 with Ice-T. That is a really great way to kind of set the tone, and then it goes into Easy, Burning Checks, and then Voodoo. Shout outs to my homie BG, Black Guru. He put me onto this guy that's featured on here. I'm in love with my chopper. They sampled that. I could do without that sample. I think that's one of the songs that could go, for me. Home Invasion's interesting. It's a little bit different pace for the game, where he's like kind of rapping a little bit faster. The song with NBA Youngboy, OPP, that was really dope. I really liked DJ Paul's production on that. Outside, La La Land, Changed the Game, and How Far I've Come. That's very like West Coast centric. There's definitely West Coast vibes. It's not all the way drill. There's a lot of just like new age type of boom bap type of sound. I don't know what to call it, but it's really dope throughout this. So then we get to like Heart and Mind, him just kind of storytelling, just him just kind of just getting things off his mind. And then we get right back into it. Here's another kind of track that I kind of skipped. I don't really like Jeremiah like that, so I kind of skipped that. I really like the song with Pusha T and 2 Chainz. That was really dope. I like the flip on track 14 with Wayne and G Herbo, but the only thing I would say that kind of hurts that track is just Wayne's hook on that. It was just completely lazy and just could have been done better. Then From Scratch, if you remember that track from the documentary, this is part 2. That's really dope. And you probably also heard like Meek rap over this. I think it was one of the Dream Chasers, or it might have been one of his albums. But that song's been sampled a lot. I like the flips on a lot of these songs too, like change the game. If you've heard the Jay-Z, and you know what I'm saying, that's off the Dynasty. I like that flip. There's a lot of interesting flips, like the Thuggish Ruggish Boom type shit, you know. There's a lot of dope, interesting twists that they kind of throw into this album production wise that makes it really, really dope to listen to all the way through. But yeah, like I said, there are songs that I could skip, you know what I'm saying. If you really look at it, I would probably skip the song with Jeremiah. Is definitely a skip for me. I don't really like Voodoo. I feel like that's a song that has to grow on me. Fortune is another one that was meh, you know what I'm saying. Twister and Jeremiah, it's cool to hear Twister like rapping fast, but it's just like, that's another skip for me. I just don't really care for it. The interlude with Drake with the braids was hilarious. Him kind of like poking fun at the fact that the game always says that this is going to be his last album, which I could have swore his last 2 albums was supposed to be the last one. But you know, like I said, it seems like Game is still kind of passionate about just rapping, and you can kind of definitely tell by listening to this whole entire project, even though it's way too long. I'd say 13 tracks is way too damn long. You could have cut this down to at least 20 and had a better kind of results as far as playback or replay value, because I definitely don't think that this is going to get a lot of plays. I definitely think people are going to just pick specific songs and put them on playlists. I think just the track listing being like 31 songs definitely kind of hurts this a bit. But I think the most controversial track on here is the Black Slim Shady. That's the first song that we kind of one of the songs that was released earlier today, or on Thursday, and it's got a lot of people talking. I didn't look at a lot of people's reaction. A lot of people are saying like, oh, why is the game reaching? And it always seems to be like anybody that's ever gone against M, it's always like they're reaching or they're clout chasing. It's never the other way around. Like, you know, nobody ever did that with, you know, Eminem when he was dissing people, and you know what I'm saying. But I do think that that's going to be an interesting battle if M were to respond, because I don't see why he wouldn't. You know what I'm saying? You respond to MGK, you might as well keep that same energy with the game. And I think that would be an interesting challenge for Eminem, because he's never really been challenged. You know what I'm saying? I don't count Ja Rule or Benzino, or, you know what I'm saying? He's never really challenged himself. He's only dissed like big pop stars and stuff. You don't get no credit for that, bro. But I do think that this would be an interesting matchup, and, you know, it could go either way. You know what I'm saying? We'll have to wait and see. But overall, I think this album is pretty solid for the most part. Like I said, I could probably skip a handful of songs. With 30 tracks, like, I could probably get rid of like 10 of the tracks. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I'd cut it down to like 20. It's still early. I'm gonna listen to this over the weekend and see what songs kind of grow on me. But how do y'all feel about this album? How y'all feel about Game as a whole, his placement in the hip-hop game? Let me know in the comments below. Till next time, I'm out. Peace.